Welcome back, everybody, to Medieval Total War, our Spanish campaign. This is Count MRVHS with Episode 3. In the last one, we saw the death of our first king, Alfonso VI, and the takeover of his son, Alfonso VII, who sadly is 56 years old. Now, he does have, I believe, some sons coming of age. These would be Prince Enrique, and then I think he has a daughter, Teresa, as well, who is 6. The difficulty here is we need to have the young guy be the heir, because currently Alfonso's younger brother is 51. That's Prince Sancho, who is up here. Lots of command, but rather old. Now, Sancho is currently married to an Aragonese princess, but I'd rather have a young heir take over. So hopefully that will be this Enrique guy, so we're going to keep an eye on that in the next few years to see if our current king is going to make it in like the next 6 years, to see if his son actually takes over, to hand over the reins of power to the next generation. And the thing that I am concerned about here is obviously the inheritance mechanic. That is sort of the goal of this campaign, to figure out and see if we can make it happen that we inherit another faction's land. What is going to be tricky about this is the timing. So we want to make sure that we are able to quickly cause another faction's demise soon after we marry into that faction. So this is going to be a very underhanded campaign, because we want to try to make this very rare mechanic occur. And so we're going to be using assassins, inquisitors, and everything else. And what that's making me realize is that I need to get going on assassins, and I can't afford to just wait around. Now, I don't have a ton of money. Hopefully that is going to change as we begin to expand our trade networks a little bit. We are currently at peace with the Almohads, so maybe we can get some trade going with Grenada, who has no trade resources and therefore could import silk from us. We could be trading with the Egyptians pretty soon, who have taken over North Africa. I think it's more likely, though, that we're probably going to be ending up at war with the Egyptians relatively quickly. And we may end up at war with Portugal, too, or war with the Almohads, because we do want Portugal. Right? At some point, we do want to get this. I'd like them to level it up a bit, do some building. You can see that I think they built this port, and I'd love for them to get a trading post and get up to a keep, at least. But the problem is, if they are isolated to just Portugal, as they may be, then they're going to feel a little trapped, and they're probably going to want to lash out at some point. So we'll see how this is going to go. I don't want to let them get too strong, and my emissary is a little vulnerable just sitting here too, I suppose, so maybe we'll move him back where the assassin is. So we need to kind of keep working up our assassins, and let's just keep going on with training them, even though this is the lowest level of the tavern, and they're not going to come out of it with any bonuses. We can still get things sort of started here. And to that end, we've got trade in Leon, but we don't yet have a trading post in Castile, and we could be trading here or out of Castile. So I think it makes sense to do that too. It's going to get us a little bit of money. And do we want to go for another bark? I think we do. We get one down here, and we're trading with Grenada. You know, it's not going to be a ton of money. We're not making that much currently from Valencia. We are making only 74 for trading with Corsica. We're not trading with Provence currently, because rebels, there's a siege underway. Once this is resolved, though, we should be trading. But we're not trading with Genoa, sadly, because they also have silk. So we need the siege to be resolved, and then we'll double our income out of this. But currently, the upkeep on our ships. So the bark here is costing us 20. The bark here is costing us 40, and this one is costing us 60. So that means we are losing money on this. What is this? 120 upkeep total for these 3 ships. But once this siege is resolved, we will just be making a profit of, like, what is this, 74 for trade out of Valencia. Oh no, it's even lower than that. It's 37. Oof. Okay, so yeah, local trade is 37. That's just the land trade. Corsica, trade with Corsica is 37. So this is the number that will double. And even that will still be less than the money we are making, than the money we're spending on upkeeping those ships. So what we need to do then is get other ships around here and start getting our trade this way. Because if we trade up here, this is actually a pretty good one. I don't know if Brittany has silk. I think they have wool. But Aquitaine does not. So we get 2 ships, right? And 2 ports and 2 trading posts. And we get a couple of, trade income here, and then we get another one here if we're trading with Portugal. So anyway, we need to divide our time between kind of like doing enough economic infrastructure to support our agents, and then, of course, training up those agents. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. I don't think we have anything else that we need to do. We are saving ourselves a little bit of cash, I think, by not doing crusades. Because that can be a bit of a time suck once and a financial suck once the crusade lands and disbands and just becomes regular guys. All those units that went on crusade start costing you upkeep again. So, and then you have to keep them. You have to build and invest so you can defend, and you're probably at war with everybody around you. So it's kind of rough. Okay, great. We've got a rank 1 assassin now for assassinating this Almohad emissary. Fantastic. King of France died from an illness. Okay. The other thing that has sort of come to my attention since I published the first episode, got some great feedback from people, and one of the points that was made was that the princess who we marry needs to still be alive at the time her faction is eliminated for us to inherit the land. Now, I'm not sure if that's true. Like, that is what I'm getting as sort of a theory from the people who have experienced this mechanic. But I think, like with a lot of things about this mechanic, it's hard to verify. But that seems reasonable to me, and it does make sense that the game would track the ages of princesses, because I know that the game tracks the ages of heirs of even eliminated factions. So if a faction is eliminated, but it still has some sons, right, who have not yet come of age. If those guys come of age and are still alive, they can be candidates to sort of take over the faction in a reemergence. So the game tracks this stuff. It's just not visible to the player. So what I need to start doing is when I'm looking for foreign princesses to marry, I need to consider how old they are, right? And what I'm not sure of is how long the average princess lives, because there are really 2 ways a princess gets removed from the game. One, she gets assassinated, right? I guess there's 3. 1, she gets married, and then she's visibly removed from the game, although she exists in some sense. 2, she's assassinated, right? Gets killed. 3, she retires to a nunnery. Princesses do not die of old age. They retire at around age 35 or so. And so what I'm not sure of is the game tracking the age of like her lifespan once she marries into the family? And or is it more like, okay, when she hits 35? That wouldn't make sense, but it's the kind of mistake I can imagine someone making when they're coding a game, right? Where they say, okay, princesses get taken off the map at age 35. So that means we'll just track princess age up to 35. And if that happens, maybe, she's considered dead even if she's married, and therefore you won't inherit. So I think we want to err on the side of youngest possible princess for the marriage to our heirs. And so we'll have to keep that in mind. And that also means we need to move very quickly so that when we're married to this princess, we can eliminate that faction, or the faction will be likely at least to be eliminated, maybe through military action of other factions, or if I just suspect that the king is getting old and he has no heirs, because I've got bishops everywhere and I know exactly how many heirs he has left. So these are all things I need to track, and if you have any thoughts about this, please volunteer them. Okay, let's just double check my loyalty here, because as I said, we've got a new king. He's got 4 influence, and that's not the best, but things are pretty decent here overall. We do have a couple of these titles, but I hadn't seen a good candidate, and this guy keeps looking good, but he's not because he's an unhinged loon. Now, I might leave this to see how bad it gets. So far, -3 morale, -30 happiness is actually fine because he's not going to be commanding. Like, his unit in a battle is going to suffer this -3 morale, but no one else if he is not the actual commander, right? Like, if this guy takes over command, then who cares about the -3 morale in Don Enrique? The problem that I'm worried about is this may turn into a worse trait, like worse in terms of him being a governor, and it might hurt the income of the province. But maybe I just want to go with it, and then I can strip the titles from him later. Let's see how much that would make a difference. He's got 4 acumen. I mean, loyalty is excellent here. And if we do this, now he's a governor of Cordoba. That boosted it up to 570. And if we give him another point of acumen, 611. So I think that's worth it. 494 is still not a lot, but that's actually a substantial increase, given that I was only making a couple hundred earlier. Okay. All right, a bit of a stalemate here. That's good for me. I just want to kind of keep things kicking around. So let's start moving Inquisitors out into the world. I want to see things. I want to see what they're doing. I need to keep making Bishops and Inquisitors like all the time, as well as Assassins, and I need to keep them working up. So this guy, let's see, you've got 1 star versus a 2-star. That's a 76% chance, and I think this is going to be 66. Okay, so better than I thought. If we're desperate, we could also use Assassins to go after our own emissaries, but that is... This emissary's got 2 Valor as well. That's not... it's kind of a losing proposition just because, you have to keep training emissaries all the time. It feels a little cheesy, so I try to avoid that if I can. We could go into other provinces. Okay, so this guy might be a good target. We deny the alliance and we assassinate him. Okay, so she's looking for a... Ooh. Okay, so this is the thing. This is what's tricky. She's going to want to marry... let's see. Who? Fernando, I guess, right? He's got no wife, but he's 40. I don't want this guy to get married necessarily because there's no value in it. He's not going to become king, and so that's not going to help us inherit. And also, this is too early of a stage for us to start getting marriage offers and thinking about eliminating factions. It's been about 50 years, and we're not ready. And England's doing fine. They're not even at war with anybody. So I think we're going to have to refuse it. We're going to have to be very selective. Normally, I eventually tend to cave and accept alliances pretty regularly because I want to maybe keep a faction from attacking me or something. But I think we're going to have to play very coy for later into the campaign just so I can keep these factions wanting to be my ally and therefore willing to give up their princesses in the late period. All right. So that's costing us. That's about all of our income. So I think we need to wait because our income we're down under 1,000 in terms of florins. I guess we could start disbanding some things, but I'm worried that Egypt is going to come up and force our hand in the next few years. Okay, trading post in Castile. That is making us a little bit 37. So that's what silk is worth, evidently. What's this making? 27. So wool is 27. Silk is 37. All right, we've got 1 year for that ship, so we can move you down here now. That's going to increase the upkeep costs, but eventually we want to do links. Okay, we got a lot of assassins. We got a couple of inquisitors. Let's start bringing them up into the world. And let's just see, like, what would be the odds? Yeah, 0% chance of getting rid of a king. This guy's got 2 piety, and it's 62. So the odds are not great initially. We will need to find some suitable targets, but for now, I'll just use them as spies that are hard to assassinate. They are twice as expensive as bishops, but I think they might be my go-to to spy, simply because that 2 valor I didn't know they would have come out of here with 2 Valor. It only says 1. But, hey, I'll take it. Okay, so what about you? I'm going to go here, because next turn that emissary is going to be there. And I've got 2 of you. Let's send a couple. Odds are good one of them will get through. Okay, great. So now I've got a rank 2 assassin. And he was the one going after, yes, the Almohad. Oh, so he just jumped up to 2 instead of going to 1. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought he would have gotten that much experience in one assassination. Okay, so we are going to deny this. We could use them to get a... This is a great source for like farming marriage offers eventually. An agent, another faction wants to ally with us because they're at war with somebody, one of our allies. We could basically go to them and just get an alliance whenever we wanted to at this point. But one other thing we could do is just marry their princesses, because again, if we initiate that, it doesn't result in an alliance. So we're going to say no. We're going to keep them on the short list, I guess. And then Edith, again, we're going to say no to this because Fernando is like 42 years old. All right, and yeah, you're 59. It's just, and no new kids are being born, which, I mean, I guess makes sense, right? Because he's 59. He also has the adultery vice, which I don't think that actually does anything in terms of like fertility or, you know, odds of marriage. Okay, and isn't this frustrating? So the attack on Provence wiped out the port here. So we are only trading with Corsica. So this is really not worth maintaining the fleet. What I may want to do is shift everything down here because I can save myself 1 boat. We can at least cut down on support costs. All right, we're going to get the same amount of money trading with Algeria as we are with Corsica, but we can eventually bring this ship back to the Gulf of Valencia and keep it there for when we want it. Okay, I think now, where do I want to build the port? Well, I guess I need to build it in both places. But silk is more valuable than wool. So we'll do that, even though this is going to be an expense. But getting up here, 1, 2, 3 ships, and we're definitely trading all of our stuff, well, our silk anyway, with Aquitaine. And then there's 3 ports here, none of which train silk, I believe, or produce silk. So we could be getting 1, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 times 37. And that ought to work out because our costs are like 120. 30 times 5 is 150, right? So we'll at least be able to get a net profit out of trading up north eventually. And this eventually will get really good once we get enough ships and get more resources online. Okay, so where's our assassin? Our 2-star guy is here. We've got a 1-star guy here. And we'll try that. And the nice thing is, there's nowhere he can go that has an enemy border fort next turn. So if I, go after him right now, get pretty decent odds of getting there. Oh, I need to build a port here. What am I thinking? Yeah, we'll do this because not only does this have silk, but it also has hides, which I don't think any of the other provinces have. So this is by far the better place to build a port when I really need to be penny pinching. All right, I need to check my inquisitors. Toulouse and Valencia. Yep, okay, so you're all going up where you want to go. Beautiful. And he even moved to Aragon, but we're good. Okay, Blanca is now a spinster. Fine. Byzantines are up in north of the Black Sea. I guess that does happen pretty typically. Okay, so now we'll get our other 2-star assassin back, and we want to keep them hanging out at ports. So there's you. Where's the other guy? Okay, he's here as well. Actually, I could send this guy right after him. 86. I feel like I should maybe send this guy, but we'll save him for a 0-star emissary if we can find one. All right, 528. And yeah, let me just check. You guys don't produce hides. You don't, and you do, but there's no port here yet. If there is, it'll still be good to have it. All right, so up in Normandy, you see that Prince Alfred, or King Alfred II, is 58. Oh gosh, he's married. Please tell me he's got heirs, because otherwise we just... Yeah, I mean, there's no way that we were going to assassinate him or kill him. But actually, what we can do, a quick way to discover if there's an heir, his heir will take over. So you drop an assassin on, and then you just, you cancel the job, right? And just make sure you've really canceled the job. Okay, so yes, you were in Aragon, you're moving down, and you're assassinating you in Valencia. We don't want to ally with the Egyptians. I mean, I guess we could, but I'm thinking that we're going to be crusading against them relatively soon. And as usual, we'll keep an eye for emissaries. Okay, Spanish javelin men. Nubian spearmen are interesting, but they're kind of a low-tier unit. And I forgot to move my ship down from the Gulf of Lions. Gulf of Leon. All right, another princess and the Egyptian Sultan. We're going to say no. And our assassin didn't quite catch up to him, but he is going to get there next turn. It's a little frustrating, I guess. Maybe I should have put him there directly into Castile. But anyway, we'll let him try again. All right, so we've got you in Burgundy. I am curious about the French. They're not at war with anybody, just rebels. But sometimes, if Toulouse gets well built up, the heir will appear here, which I think is exactly what has happened. Anjou is held by the English, and so this is essentially cut off from the rest of the realm. So it's really, really tough to be the French, but they are an incredibly fun campaign. All right, don't see any other likely targets, so we'll bring you down because the ports around here are just not worth it. It's going to save us a little bit of cash. All right, big Egyptian attack into Morocco, and the Spanish king has died. Oh my gosh. So his son didn't come of age yet. All right, so the Inquisitor is going nuts in Ile-de-France. I regret to inform you that the population here have let their faith in the Almighty slip and evil runs rampant. I have managed to save some souls from eternal damnation, but the people here have no stomach for God's work and their zeal is diminishing. I will persevere. People killed 1,680. Now, there is no population mechanic in this game, so I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but it really is like there is some dice roll happening that's determining some number that is of use in some way to the game, right? Why is it such a specific number? So does this translate into fertility somehow, like the production of farms in the province, I would think? Does it have any effect on income? It would be so cool if it did, right? Because this is a way you can damage your enemies through subterfuge without having to go to war or even to directly assassinate them. I just don't know what this does. Maybe this is simply leftover like code from something that they didn't implement. You just never know. So if anyone has any insight into this, and I think, by the way, it's high time we should know the ins and outs of this game, right? Like, you can't tell me that in this year, 2025, 23 years after this game released, there's got to be someone out there with the knowledge to sort of look at the files, see what else can be, uncovered, shall we say? Because I've looked at the files I can read, but there's other stuff, right? The game works with other mechanisms that are not visible to a very sort of surface level modder like me, that some very clever person, I'm sure, has figured out a way to get into and see what does this actually mean. But what's happening here is when your bishop goes into a province, that province has a zeal, and if you leave your bishop there for a while, he will increase the zeal of the province to a certain point. I don't know what that point is. It's not like a flat, like 100% or whatever. It's just some number. And when the province zeal reaches that number, you get this message about the Inquisitor killing a bunch of people. Then the zeal of the province resets. It goes back down. So what we're going to see next turn is, what is the zeal of Ile-de-France? Like, what is the floor of that zeal? Because I don't think it goes to 0. It goes to some, lesser number. And then if you leave him here for a while, it's going to work back up and up and up. And then it's going to do this again. So let's just see. I'd like to keep him here and see if we can get some understanding of that mechanic. And yeah, Poland, we're going to say, okay, so King Enrique. Oh my gosh, this is Enrique. Oh, damn. All right. Okay. I'm looking at my family tree. He must have been just on the cusp when his dad died. Wow. Yeah, because Enrique, so I started the game in 1130, and he was 10, right? And so that means he needs to get to 1136, which I guess it technically is because we ended the year in 1135, and so I guess he just came of age. And he's unmarried. Now, you might think, all right, this is perfect. Get the wife, right? Because a big part of this game is making sure your king has heirs and sons and so on. But again, a big part of this campaign is figuring out if we can inherit land. So the question is, if I marry Princess Zofia of Poland, is there any chance that her family is going to get wiped out and I inherit some land in Poland within the next, few years? I think the odds of that are extremely low to 0. It's 1135. It's like 100 years before the Mongols are going to show up. The Polish are at war with the Germans, but more likely what's going to happen is if the Germans wipe them out, they're just going to be eliminated completely, and there won't be like rebel provinces left over, right? Typically, when a faction gets wiped out militarily, all of their provinces are conquered. And that means there's nothing to inherit. And Enrique is like 16 at this point. So I could just say, you know what? Forget it. We're not going to try inheriting through Enrique because it's too early for me to make that happen. And instead what we will do is just let him marry some woman of the court, because that will automatically happen after a while. I know it's a bit risky, but I think that he's young enough. He's like as young as a king could possibly be, in fact, that it's better for us to go that route and keep Poland open for later. That means like when Enrique's son eventually, comes of age, we can have his son marry into some faction, because maybe by then our assassins, maybe in like 20 years, 25 years, our assassins and inquisitors are good enough to maybe take out some family trees. So I think I'm going to say no. All right. Gosh, I just don't know if that's the right move. Where's our king? He's up in Leon. Enrique I, 16 years old. Fantastic. My gosh. And he's got some good traits too. Killer Instinct is +2 Valor, +1 Dread. So he's good on the field. The Dread makes him... I think that applies to everywhere in the kingdom. So in other words, everywhere is going to be a little happier in a sense because he's a little terrifying. 3 is not that bad or good. And materialist +1 acumen, so it would have been 2 without that. So that's very good. He's got low influence, right? 4 is not great, but it's kind of the standard for a new king. So what I am now curious about is his heirs. All right. And these are not like his kids, but all I'm seeing now is princesses. We've got Jimena, who I already knew about, Blanca, who I already knew about, and Teresa, who I already knew about. And I think Teresa actually is like his sister. Yeah, I think that was his sister, his dad's other kid. I think his dad only had Enrique and then Teresa. All right, so that's the heirs. What that means is now that none of these guys are heirs for the throne, right? Now he still has royal blood. Oh, sorry, he still has a wife, and he is of royal blood. And this is the guy who is married to the Aragonese princess. That means that this guy is potentially dangerous if a civil war should erupt. He could be a ringleader. He's got high dread. He's got high command. If I put him in charge of a big stack, right, and if his loyalty goes down a bit, and he could be a ringleader in a civil war. So I need to keep tabs on that a little bit, and I also need to check all my governors. But like this also means that these guys are now available for lordships. So like if I decide that this guy is really lame, like this guy is actually amazing. I should put him in charge of Cordoba. And this gives you 1 loyalty. Oh, okay, loyalty 3. Loyalty 2. So 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he could be down quite a bit. But I do have some princesses to marry, to marry him if that makes him upset. I think my economy is so bad at this point that it might be worth stripping titles and giving them to, like, all of these guys are kind of better. Not him. You might even be good, right? Let's do a quick survey here. I think you're good. Duke of Castile, although... Oh, he gets 2 acumen from the title, Lord Chamberlain, and he's got only 4 acumen currently. So I think he needs to go. All right, let's strip titles from him. Who else is a lord in this stack? You. Duke of Valencia, that's 4. Well, I think I'm going to take my time with this. I want to make sure that I am giving guys the right titles. So I don't want to just strip a ton of them. We'll do it like every turn. I'm going to do 1. I want to take it kind of careful because we've got a new king here. And I want to make sure we're not going to be upsetting people all over the place. But yes, war is coming to our doorstep because theoretically the Egyptians could hit us right now. They could attack from Morocco directly into Cordoba. But I've got a good general here, Don Pedro Velasquez, who is a former prince. He's quite loyal, and I think he's ready to go in terms of being a governor of some place. And so I'm not too worried about it. There's a lot of camels. There are a lot of spearmen. But I think we've got enough good stuff here that we would be okay. All right, now where are you going? Yeah, see how we're just not catching this guy. Sometimes this happens, where you have an assassin, you give him an order, and the emissary just slips out of his hands. So what I might do is... let's try Navarre. That's 83%. And if he moves out, we at least won't go right into Aquitaine after him, right? We'll just switch targets. I'm wondering if we should switch targets there as well. We're starting to see border forts now, which is a bit concerning. Yeah, see down here. Not yet in Portugal. Well, let's just try that. See if we have a chance of catching up to him. Okay, I guess we got him with our rank 1 assassin. Or maybe this was a rank 0 assassin? See, the experience gain is a little unclear to me. I'm not sure exactly how it figures that sometimes you seem to gain more XP for killing people than others. Okay, so England has died and his heir has taken over command. So good. We wouldn't have inherited anyway. All right, stripped of title and office. This is this guy. All right, man of principle, and you are most loyal. Very nice. Mine +1 dread as well. Wow, that's actually perfect because I'm about to strip you of titles. He gets 1 acumen from this, so that's going to bring him down to a rather dull 4. I feel like you should be the guy of Castile because, yeah, 2. We want you to be nice and loyal, right? And that's going to get you up to 6 stars, so 985 is all of a sudden quite a bit better. This is a tough spot. So I really like how the game is designed with the sea regions, because it just makes for really interesting choices in terms of gameplay, right? Like, you have to decide, is it worth it to start trying to stretch your fleets out east when there is going to be this dead zone? Because the port here goes under the Barbary coast, and the port for Tunisia goes into the Gulf of Gabes. But the Africa coast is basically barren for the purposes of trade. So that means you're going to be sucking up like a, 60 or higher upkeep cost on your bark for the odds of maybe getting a return on income over here. But is it worth it? Well, it depends, right? I guess it depends on how much trade you're getting. So let's now look at Cordoba, because we are getting some trade income. And this is quite a bit better now. We're trading 70 with Algeria, 70 with Grenada, and 70 in local trade. So if we were to now, it might almost be worth it to get a couple of ships over here, because now 70 and 70. Oh, well, the 70 is from both of these things, hides and silk. So 35, and this must be 35 too, which is interesting. Wait, why are you making 114? You're making 210. Why is this? Is this affected by the acumen? I don't understand trade income. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to figure it out, because it's not really the purpose of this campaign, but I don't get it. All right, so looking back at Inquisitors for a second, this is Ile-de-France. Zeal is 55%. It was, what was it? Well, I don't know. We don't know what it was, but it must have been much higher. And we'll see if it goes up next turn. Notice how the Inquisitor, though, is sort of standing. Right? Like he's holding, what is that? I don't know if he's holding something that's like yellow. It's like he's holding a candle or a torch, maybe? Oh, that's his staff, right? That's what this is. This guy's kneeling down. He's not doing anything. But this guy is, to suggest that he is pursuing a mission. And it says, in fact, Inquisition of Individual, whereas this just says preaching. So he's bringing up the zeal, and this guy is still, I guess, doing his thing. He's not actively seeking any individual person. So we'll see how high he can get the zeal. Another 2-star Inquisitor. And I'm just curious. See how this all works out. All right, no Almogavars, but we will keep our eyes open for him. Okay, and yes, you are now a 1-star assassin, or maybe you were, but he's completed his tasks, and so let's get out of Grenada while we can. And you, yes, we'll call you back, because his target is an Aquitaine, and so we don't want that. We'll get you back to Castile. So again, we're keeping assassins in places with ports to try to intercept enemy agents. So far, we haven't caught any, but that will happen soon enough. The AI will start sending spies and assassins around, especially since I am doing some of that. So let's see. Yep, let's go with Castile. Let's go with a port. And I feel like income is okay enough, so we'll go with another Inquisitor. All right, general dies of old age. So that means, I think, he was the prince, right? Sancho. And he never took over. And then he, lost his sort of princely status because his nephew became king. But he retained the royal blood. I think what this means now is he no longer has royal blood. So let's check that out. All right, so the Inquisition is dismantled in Ile-de-France. Again, I don't know exactly what that means, but let's check if you have royal blood. No, he does not. So very, very interesting. He's got, again, the same stats and everything, but he is no longer a sort of prince. All right, we're good. 2-star Inquisitors. Let's go over to Poland. Let's just see what it looks like there. And let's now see. So he is still standing. And Azil's 57. All right, so it's going up still. This is now 66. It's going up by 1 point. All right. Let's kind of keep our eyes on it. And Morocco has now fallen to the Egyptians. So Grenada is probably going to be next. Let's go with the port here while I got the money. You know, what I'm wondering is, do I want to build a crusade here? I think I'm going to just go with the port to force myself to not do that just yet. Because if I build a crusade right now, I'll feel like I have to use it. And the reason is, if you have a crusade marker just sitting in a province, and like it would be in Leon, so let's say the Almohads decide to attack, because they got no other options, especially once they lose Grenada. If a crusade marker is destroyed, or if, so if the Almohads win, even if I retreat to the castle and they never take the castle, they will destroy the chapter house, and therefore the crusade marker will be gone. And that counts effectively as you lost a crusade. And so that means my king is going to lose like 1 or 2 points of influence, and that's going to bring the loyalty of everybody down, and that's civil war time. So we don't want to do that. What I want to do is maybe we're going to see how the Egyptians are going to play this. If they start going into Grenada, I think that's when I build my crusade and I get ready to go immediately into Portugal, right? And we eliminate the Almohads, and then we use crusades to take out the Egyptians, or at least start that. All right, Germans excommunicated. You know what I could do is I could start sending a ship around. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it seems a bit ridiculous though, because he's going to be undergoing all that upkeep cost, but it would be quicker than waiting and building another ship, you know. So maybe I'll just do that. Let's send the 0-star guy. Actually, we'll send you right now. Because in a couple of turns, I can build a shipwright in Castile. And I am very aware that I'm not upgrading any of my settlements, really. Okay, we've got another princess here, Teresa. And Enrique is 19. No heirs. All right, yep. All right, so the Pope wants to crusade against the Germans. Okay. This is good. So we caught and killed an enemy assassin, almost certainly working for the papacy. So he may not get 3 stars, my assassin here, but eventually he will if he keeps catching guys. It might take a few interceptions before you get any experience for it. All right, Don Fernando is devout. Very good. All right, yep, just 2 stars. That's okay. So let's keep going around with lordships, because King of Navarre, you kind of suck. This guy is probably better at Navarre. Now, Navarre is not making a lot of money regardless, but I still think it's a better idea. Let's, okay, you are here. Or you're Duke of Leon. Yeah. Let's get you stripped of your title of Duke of Leon, and we'll give it to you. Fantastic. Deep thinker, +3 acumen. So, Leon has potential to make a lot of money. Alright, another emissary here. Let's see if we can kill him before he moves away. Yeah, and you're going up to the Spanish coast. One more turn, we can start getting a shipwright. Or, I mean, I guess I could just build another boat here. It might be better to build ships here, then I don't have to fight with, you know, Castile and Leon for stuff, for ships, because these are going to be training agents and crusades and, you know, military stuff. Cordoba might be a good ship province too, but let's wait because we don't have a ton of money to start splashing around. All right, that's up to 59. He's still on his inquisiting high horse, and this is up to 68. So it does seem to go up by 1 point. 1 point every turn, which is not very great. All right, but I also said I wanted to start building a crusade. But actually, the Almohads held off in Grenada. Well, I think it doesn't matter. Portugal is something we are going to want, even though they're not building anything like very scary. It's not like we need to rush to kill them for fear, but we're not going to gain anything by waiting around, right? So we may as well get there and get a crusade going. All right, beautiful. So we've got, I think, 3 2-star assassins right now. All right, you're up here. Okay, you will be my Duke of Leon, right? Wait. Oh, I took out the Navarre guy. Okay, I'm going to make you the Duke of Navarre, mostly for loyalty. It's only going to be 1, but that brings it up a little bit. And, oh yeah, okay, so you can come out, and you're the Duke of Leon, so we'll strip you. And then give it to him. Okay, so yes, a 3-star here, a 3-star here, and a 3-star here. And let's get another assassin, because we're going to want another guard in Leon. So let's see what we can do, because I'm going to need to send some troops over to Cordoba to help with the crusade. Obviously all of these guys are going to come, but everyone else borders another faction, so I don't really want to take any guys out of here. You know, I don't know if it's worth taking the king. In fact, maybe I'll send him over to Leon just to garrison, and that way the really good governors or generals can hang around. I think you, yeah, maybe you will go over to join the crusade and lead it. Well, he's an unhinged loon, actually. Well, that probably wouldn't matter, but let's leave him here for now. He'll stay with the king, I guess. So maybe let's train up some very, very cheap things. We're making a bit of money now. Let's get like one of you. I guess that's it. I mean, I could... Any interesting mercs? Spanish javelinmen, typical stuff. Not worth it giving my my funding issues. And this, we're not trading with Grenada right now either. Alright, we're going to say no. Okay, so he actually, I think just as we stripped him of his title, possibly, maybe he didn't have a title, but this guy's a fast talker. I don't think it's going to be enough to make him worthy of being, well, actually, dang. It's just that we do have a lot of skilled administrators right now, which is nice. So you can be in charge of Lyon. And what else do I have? So you, yes, you're the kind of crazy Duke of Cordoba, but that's good. Valencia is led by you, which is kind of lame. Yeah, like you should be Duke of Valencia. So let's get you. And then we'll give it to him. Okay, so they keep sending these agents at me, which is great. Let's send you, and let's see. I think I'm going to try it with this guy because he may slip away otherwise. Another assassin in Cordoba, so I can have one. Let's get you up to Lyon. Alright, yeah, we do have to be a little wary of the loyalty issue. So let's take you. And actually, what is your command? 8? Okay, so you can stay because you're clearly amazing. Bring you up here. Alright, we did get an Inquisitor over to Poland. And we can see now that this guy is, oh, he's 38. Let's see if he has any princesses or any heirs running around. He probably does. Oh, no. 34% odds as well. But he is in a border fort settlement. But you see how that worked? I mean, like, our assassin, this guy only has 2 stars. If we were to swarm this king with, like, 5 2-star assassins, I want to say one of them might get through. And so that's, I think, a viable tactic. But there is this border fort, which I think odds of them getting through that is a totally separate dice roll, I believe, and not very good. So let's just keep our guys moving around. I want to see how much they own. Eventually, I would imagine the Poles are going to have an heir coming of age. So, yeah, let's just move you because there's no real point. I'll move you over to Silesia. And one more turn for a ship. Do I want to invest anything? Yeah, I think I'm only interested right now in putting money into money. Like, I know these things are good, but they're a bit expensive at the moment. So 554 becomes 644, so that's 90. You know, 11 turns or so, that pays for itself, right? Or is it? Yeah. Still, that's like half my income. And I am building boats. Alright, we actually got him, but our assassin is in Palestine, so that's interesting. We'll see if you know, he can get home safely. But I think he can, if he, even if there's a border fort in there, if he made it through the first time, I think he can leave safely. Turbulent priest slain, the Thomas Becket event. So, Catholic Church is increased in all English provinces, so I think that means they all get higher percentages of Catholicism, but the king's influence is lower, which is interesting because that could lead to a civil war type scenario, but probably not. This guy's got amazing loyalty. All right, so Poland owns Pomerania, but not Silesia, which is interesting. So what about Lithuania? And Brandenburg, and let's see, what does Palestine look like? Yeah, no watchtowers, no border forts, lots of peasants, as is typical for the Egyptians. But let's get home. I want to do my my assassinating on home ground as much as possible. I guess we'll move you to Cordoba. Actually, let's move you to Valencia. So that'll give this guy a chance to level up if someone tries to get through here. Okay, one more turn for the Crusade. We do have a second ship. So we'll keep moving them up this way. And next turn, we can actually get some income out of trading with the Almohads. And then that's going to go away pretty soon. But we could also just shift our boats up to the Bay of Biscay. All right, so we get another archer. All right, he's nice and loyal. Let's bring you over. And what about this? I think you can stay. Valencia. What did we want for Valencia? Was this you? Yeah. All right. Looking very good. I think everything is the way I want it now. Cordoba's fine. Castile is fine. Valencia is fine. Navarre is led by this guy, and Leon by him. So all of my provinces are, I think, well taken care of. Yep, let's go with yet another unit of something. So we're going to be sending over this stack, which actually does have a lot of archers. So we probably want a bit more of like spear types. Let's go with like some, I don't know, malicious sergeants are probably better bang for your buck. I think their morale is worse than urban militia. They're armored, which is sometimes a problem. And because it's been a little concerning to me, you know, lately, Aragon is right here. Let's go for a castle and ring wall. It seems to make sense to do that in Castile. All right. Emissary going down to Valencia for some reason. What are you trying to do? 3 stars. Okay. Let's see what that's going to be like. 76% chance, so I want to try 2 assassins. Okay, and yeah, we may want... I think we want to train another one. There's my crusade. Now, I think that we could get this one... this is going to cost us money, actually. I think we could crusade against Germany for free because they're excommunicated and the Pope specifically called for it. But maybe actually we can't, right? Like maybe it only is free for a little while. But that is, by the way, evidently a way you can have multiple crusades at one time. Something I just recently read on the org forums from, again, shortly after the game was released. But the devs at least intended it to be that you can, when the Pope calls for a crusade, if you have one active, you can actually get another one right away. You can, if you've got a crusader marker sitting around that's not being used, you can go ahead and crusade against the target that he wanted you to. So if I were to do this, these are my crusade targets, but I think what they said is there are some green targets that would show up to indicate that they are free. These are valid because this is Germany, right? And they are excommunicated. These are all valid because they are Byzantine or like rebel, like pagan/Orthodox places. Grenada is valid. Leon's not valid. It's just where I am, right? But we could go right now into Portugal. Yeah, I guess we do. Let's not wait. 1250. All right, so what did we get here? No Knights of Santiago, sadly. But all these guys get armor upgrades, which is interesting. Okay, I think I'm not going to send the king on the crusade because it's going to hurt the experience of the troops. I want to send this guy instead. But I don't want to put him in the crusade per se. So 2 spears, we've got some archers, we've got all of this. Let's bring a spearman over just so I can say that I've got 100 men in the province. And you can actually join up. This guy's very disloyal, but that's why we've got you going along to sort of watch all of them. So what is this? 559, so about 600 men, with about 700 men. So about 1,300. So you've got 4 and 5, 20 and 200. So like 11. So we outnumber them at this point. And there is a fairly decent amount of peasants here. Urban militia is only 1-2 full units. And they got a couple of Gulam bodyguards, but we've got, let's see, 1 Royal Knights unit. Might be nice to have another. And you know what's interesting? The fanatics actually have very high support costs. So order foot soldiers are 62, but fanatics are 50. I mean, that's exactly the same as spearmen. And I would expect it to be lower, right? I expect it to be more like peasant quality, but they got kind of high support costs. So let's send all of them because they are just, you know, itching to go on crusade. So we'll send them. Do we have anything to kind of kill the Gulams? We've got the Jeannettes, but I think it might be good to send another, like, urban militia unit. And let's send this guy that we just trained, right? Alright, I know that this might theoretically invite attack from the Spanish. So we'll train you. I do want to train an assassin there. And I should probably queue up, you know, archers at least in Valencia so I can have something. Alright, feels like I'm spending a lot of money. Oh no. Alright, well that was just a 0-star assassin. Okay, we outnumber them pretty comfortably here. And Lord Gilmirez, who I believe was a prince, yeah, he must have been, is leading a very, very sort of fanatic-heavy army. But they're all reinforcements. I wonder if I should front-load with my fanatics. Let's see, for archers, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they've got Berber camels, which are an interesting sort of camel archer unit. They get, these are the tough guys, like the Gulams and the Almohad urban militia. I've got 5 archers. I've got a lot of javelins, but I don't have a lot of front line. So I think I kind of want to send you guys certainly up, you know, in terms of reinforcements. I don't think archers are going to be so useful late in the game. All right, let's do something like that. Command the attack into Portugal. And this promises to be, I think, a very good province for us to take. You know, my biggest experience with Portugal is as a training ground for my spies. Like, I don't own this place hardly ever. And it's, you know, it's because I typically don't play Spain. I don't typically play on the Iberian Peninsula. But I'm always using it to destabilize my rivals if I'm playing a Glorious Achievements campaign. You know, typically Spain is pretty strong, or you know, whoever owns the peninsula. So it's a pretty useful target if they haven't built up Portugal to go in there with spies and religious agents and just try to cause problems. So I have more experience of doing that than of actually like playing, playing the Spanish. All right, we'll go with this. We've got our, where's my 4th Jeanette unit? Okay, right there. Archers up front, main line in the back. We've also got the javelin men on the right, foot soldiers, spearmen, militia sergeants, urban militia. So basically what we'll be doing here is marching forward, skirmishing, and then sort of sending our archers back. Okay, this is actually looking pretty decent. They're going for the hill. We are shooting at them. That may get them to come down. I don't really want to fight in the woods very much. But they're actually not coming. They're just repositioning. They're going away. Interesting. Let's go ahead and just hit him with the Jeanettes. They're doing very well. I mean, they hit my urban militia in the back, so that's part of it. Alright, there's the bigger urban militia army. I'll make sure you're on skirmish again. Alright, let's get all these guys a little bit back. And my archers are just not... Okay. A little concerned they weren't skirmishing. And they're not, but so far, there they go. Oh, and they get the 3rd unit over there. Great. So let's take care of all of them, you know, separate from the army. Very nice. Okay, are they now coming to help? Looks like they're coming back. And they have done quite a lot of damage on my archers, but that's okay. And Jeanettes are doing quite well. I mean, I guess it doesn't take a lot of them when they're surrounding a unit like that to make the unit break. Okay, so now militia sergeants. Let's see where our assembly is going to be. I don't think we can call any yet. Let's actually withdraw that one archer unit. Okay, so let's make sure the archers are kind of aimed the right way. And this is very weird behavior for the AI. Typically, the medieval Total War AI is a bit better than this. They are just sending guys at me 1 or 2 at a time. And don't get me wrong, I'm playing with my archers very badly here. You know, I'm not protecting them at all. But, you know, I'm kind of following their lead and taking advantage of what they're giving me. Alright, we'll just let them rout off. Okay, we should get up on this hill before they just entirely seize it from us. Yeah, the javelin men, I'm actually not sure if they were a great thing to bring here, but I'm thinking if we have the Ghulams pinned at some point, it'll be nice to have them. The Jeannettes also have javelins, but javelins seem to be a Spanish thing, so I kind of want to, you know, I don't mind playing into it a little bit. We'll see how it works. Okay, so we're getting shot up by some desert archers. I think I want to wait before I move really, you know, aggressively towards them here. But now with those Almohad urban militia gone, okay, so they're bringing in some reinforcing peasants. I'm just feeling a lot better about taking this on. If we were just to go straight through the woods here, we might do okay. This is a lot of light stuff. There are some, you know, urban militia sergeants. Berber camels would be easy in the woods if we get the right unit against them. Did we just friendly fire our own Jeannettes? I think we did. Alright, they're coming now. And there go the Ghulams. This is not the king. It is like one of the princes, or one of the former princes, I guess. Alright, now bring on reinforcements. No? Okay, you can get in there now. Let's seal up those peasants. Winning easily. Alright, so let's start throwing javelins in. We want to make sure that you are not on skirmish. Yep, engage at will. Engage at will. Ten, 9. Alright, and let's get you down there too to shoot at the king. Alright, so we took care of that prince unit, I guess. Let's go fight the urban militia, and we can bring the cab around. You guys are doing just fine there. Yeah, and I knew the archers were going to get sort of cornered and taken out by a few odd units, but that doesn't really bother me. There's the beautiful sound of routing.
The enemy king flees with no thought of his royal dignity.
All right, let's chase him then with the Jeanette units. And I guess these two guys... wait, which two? Well, I don't know where you are. Okay, let's go after some archers. Let's see, where's my fanatics? There they are. My gosh. I've got to be very careful with the king, obviously. Well, not the king. This is the general. But yeah, if I was fighting with the king, I would have to be careful because there is nobody else to take over. Currently, no heirs, so that would be game over. All right, let's go after those Berber camels if I can. And it looks like some of my Jeanettes did catch the king. Losing badly. He's probably pretty much out of reinforcements. I'm not totally sure of that, but I think he had just a few units of peasants.
The enemy king lies dead. A noble man making a good end.
Alright, so really all we have to do now is catch. Yeah, I figured the Jeanettes would eventually get them to rout, and now it's just chasing down the enemy. Let's go after the camels. If we catch them, that'd be nice. I think. Yep, that's basically it. Alright, very good. So, crusade success. We do need to take the fort still. And no ransom, sadly. Oh, okay. That's it for the faction. Alright, I guess it makes sense. I mean, that was it. Aquitaine. Oh, geez. How did that... okay, perfect. Our king is married, so, you know, again... If like the Polish faction gets eliminated in like 5 years or something, I'm going to be very very annoyed, but I don't think it's likely. So let's just see. Yeah, who did I lose? I guess I lost one of my good guys. So the thing I have to be careful of is it is now just one step away from most of my provinces into Aquitaine, which has a border fort. So you can see how quickly it takes, or how easy it is for you to lose an assassin. Let's go right here, because he's going to Aragon, and I know that is safe currently, unless there's spies in there. And let's go after you. It's 83. All right, so you are going to Aquitaine. That's right. Okay, so yeah, I want to cancel that. So you are who? That's right, it's the 3-star emissary. So he moved down here and then moved up here. So I sent one of my other 2 stars after him. Okay. So public order in Portugal looks fine for now. But let's just go ahead and assault. Why can't I assault? It's really strange. But I'll queue up an assault with both of my armies because it says that it will only take 1 year, but what that means is it's really going to be 2 years. You just add 1 to however long it tells you, because next year it'll say is about to fall, and then it'll be at the end of that turn that it falls. So it's a little longer than you think, but we'll just leave the taxes on normal. Hopefully we get to keep a bunch of this infrastructure, and then really the next thing is going to be dealing with the Egyptians, because they're in Grenada and Morocco. And what we're probably going to want to do is take both of these. Morocco is a nice province to get gold resources, so we can build a mine. It's also got a trade good. Grenada has got silver, and it doesn't have anything that's going to be useful to us. Neither of these do. I don't think we can train Berber camels, but still, they're good to take, and it makes a nice 1-province border with the Egyptians going forward. And then it also opens us up to why not crusade, right? Because if there are no Catholic factions doing it over here, then we have pretty good odds of getting into these places and getting to Syria with the assassin bonus. And we may want to do that soon. So what we want to get is an heir for the king. He is now 25. So that means if next year he has a son, he will be like 41 or 42 when that guy comes of age, and that's nice. If we don't have any sons in like 5 years, 6, 7 years, that's when I start to get worried. So hopefully we'll start producing heirs. And I think that's about where we want to end the episode here. So thanks for watching. I think we are making some progress here. We're getting our hold over the Iberian Peninsula, and we are going to gradually be increasing our income. 936 is pretty decent. We will have to start paying upkeep on these guys, so that's going to eat into that a little bit. But we are going to, again, have the salt and have 2 trade goods, which are rather unusual, which we can start taking advantage of very soon in Portugal. This helps our borders a lot, so I don't have to worry about being attacked in Leon now. And really, it's just Cordoba. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I could just sit here and, defend, theoretically, against Egypt, because they are... Okay, actually, they don't have any other wars. So maybe I just want to be as defensive as possible. I wiped out the Almohads, and maybe I just want to try to get trade income, and not anger factions whose princesses I may want to marry, like the Sicilians, who are currently allied with Egypt. So we'll see what we're going to do in the next few episodes. So hope you'll join me for that. Take care until then.